My teacher, my desk is small. I need this Polish boy's desk also.
Everyone gets the same size desk. Now, class.
My teacher, I will need the Czechoslovakian boy's desk as well.
There's Loplaski. What's going on here?
It's not my problem. Now, it's my problem.
Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of the Senate, of the House of Representatives, yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy, the United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
The Battle of Okinawa, codenamed Operation Iceberg, was fought on the Ryukyu Islands of Okinawa and was the largest amphibious assault in the Pacific War of World War II. The 82-day-long battle lasted from early April until mid-June of 1945.
The Japanese were a very well-trained organization. They were disciplined people that were excellent fighters, and we had great respect for them.
The United States land force included the 10th Army, which contained about 102,000 Army and 81,000 Marine Corps personnel. The Japanese land campaign, mainly defensive, was conducted by the 67,000-strong regular 32nd Army and some 9,000 Imperial Japanese Navy troops at the Oroku Naval Base, only a few hundred of whom had been trained and equipped for ground combat.
We knew how the Japanese fought, to the death.
On April 1st, the 10th Army of the United States landed on Higashi Beach. 3 days later, the 24th Corps of the 10th Army made first contact with Japanese defenses with very heavy fighting in southern Okinawa.
What better subject to put on film than the story of the combat cameraman, who was practically unknown at the time. We knew that our next operation was coming off in the Pacific. So I said, well, let me go out there. Let me find the cameramen we have out there, and presumably they will be in on the action, whatever it may be, and I want to be there photographing them, photographing the action.
The battle would continue for 3 months. Among the casualties, the worst of the war, was a cameraman.
He was a Navy cameraman. Somehow or another he was hit and blinded. They had bandage in the field, his eyes, and some of it was still hanging down. He, of course, could not see. They brought him up on the side of the ship, and he got to the top, and he's reaching for help. He can't see a thing. And his buddies reached up and took him down. And our commentary is, for this cameraman, the picture was over. And that's exactly what it was. He never saw again. Later that day, the kamikazes came in. These were guys who were dedicated to giving their lives for their country. And they crashed into us. Our anti-aircraft guns were working at them full time.
Bull Halsey said, "The kamikazes were the only weapon I feared in the war." There were over 1,300 of these suicide attacks. They sank 26 ships and damaged 300. The photographic record of these attacks includes some of the most astonishing footage of the war. There were many near misses, as this one turned out to be. But most of the Navy casualties at Okinawa are attributed to kamikazes.
The Japanese military did not want them to surrender. They must have firmly believed their own propaganda about how we would brutalize them, torture them, and murder them.
June 21st, 1945. The Japanese army fight their last battle. General Ushijima issues his final orders before committing suicide.
My beloved soldiers, you have fought courageously for nearly 3 months. You have discharged your duty. Your bravery and loyalty brighten the future. Farewell.
Over 38,000 Americans have been wounded and over 12,000 killed or missing.
They had the cemeteries all planned out. And we did have an opportunity to go to those cemeteries. It gave you a great feeling of relief and an awfully deep feeling of sadness.
I think about the ones who didn't come back and what might have been. They lost their tomorrow, so I could have mine.
The main outcome of this battle was the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki using plutonium and uranium bombs. Hiroshima was bombed on August 6, 1945, and Nagasaki was bombed 3 days later.